Hello fam, let's dive into this video.
This is the story of Oku's daughter, Nkoli, a lady who chose to trail her father's evil path. Oku had a very large family filled with sons and daughters, but the whole village of Idem, who were well aware of his evil blood, also dreaded his children and did not want anything to do with them. As a result, when his children became mature and ready for marriage, no one dared desire them for marriage. If a young man in Idem as much as voices the intention to propose marriage to any of Oku's daughters, he would be seen as a lunatic because who in his right senses would walk right into fire? Oku's children were aware of the stigma they carried, but they accepted their fate and were hopeful that maybe someone brave would come for them. Oku's favorite wife was Akweke, and so when she had her first daughter, Nkoli, she became her father's jewel. Oku would do anything for Nkoli if she would only ask. But unfortunately, Nkoli did not see the need to use the privilege. She wanted to have a normal life like other people, and so, rather than spending her time with her father and eating his leftovers, she decided to start making baskets like most young ladies. She would then go to the markets to sell them. However, she avoided the local markets of Idem and always went to the main market where people from other villages usually came to buy and sell too. It was on one of such days when she went to sell her baskets that she met a young man. This man was from the next two villages after Idem, and so he knew nothing about Oku and his family. Immediately he saw Nkoli, he was mesmerized and couldn't take his eyes off her. "Excuse me, young lady." Nkoli heard it, but she did not turn back, as she was very sure the person was not referring to her. Who in his right senses would want to talk to her? But the man walked faster to meet up with her. "Excuse me, Nwoma, can I have a moment with you?" As Nkoli heard Nwoma, her head did a 360 spin. Was it really her? Wow! And as she turned to look at the man who was talking to her, she melted. The guy was fine. "I'm sorry to disturb you, but I just couldn't help it. I saw you at the market with your baskets, but before I could come to meet you later after business, you were not there again. So I consider this a miracle, seeing you here. My name is Ebuka, and if you don't mind, I would like to get to know you and see you again." At this point, Nkoli stood like a statue, trying so hard to control her bubbling emotions. What? Is this real? A man was admiring her. She tried so hard to compose herself, and just before she left, they agreed to meet the next evening at a particular spot. As soon as Ebuka was out of sight, Nkoli ran off immediately to break the wonderful news to her mother, Akweke. Mama, you won't believe what happened today. A man talked to me. He said he likes me and wants to be friends with me." Akweke was also surprised. "Are you serious? This is great. Who is he and where is he from?" "He's a businessman who comes from the next two villages. He doesn't know anything about Papa." Nkoli answered, and only then was Akweke relieved. "That is good. That means he doesn't know anything about us. Make sure you don't let him know what he is not meant to know. This is an opportunity. You must not toil with it. And most importantly, make sure he has money. I don't want you to end up with a poor man." Nkoli nodded as she understood the full weight of her mother's words. The next day, Nkoli went out to see Ebuka as planned, and when he tried to ask about her family, she found a way to change the topic. However, Nkoli did not need to do much because Ebuka was already enchanted, and deep down, he already knew that he wanted to marry her. He asked her to go with him to see his mother in his village, and Nkoli agreed. But Before she went, she told her mother about it. Akweke then gave her a powder to apply on her face. When Ebuka's mother saw Nkoli, she was immediately pleased. She hugged Nkoli and took her inside, showering her with attention and love. Ebuka was pleased that his mother accepted Nkoli and started making plans to marry her. He had two younger brothers who were not around at the moment, so Nkoli did not meet them. As they walked back home that evening, Ebuka told Nkoli that he would love to meet her father. Nkoli was shocked. "You want to see my father? Why?" Ebuka smiled and answered her, "Why else would a man want to see your father? Of course I want to marry you and I can't wait anymore." Nkoli was relieved but still bothered. "Oh, okay, but I'll have to inform him first. My father is strict and he doesn't like seeing us with men." Nkoli got home and told her mother everything that happened that day. "Mama, you won't believe it. Ebuka's compound is very big with a beautiful house. His business is obviously doing well and his mother was all over me when she saw me. But there is a problem. He said he wants to come and see Papa. Mama, I like Ebuka already. I don't want him to change his mind." Akweke thought for a while before speaking. "It is a good thing that you have gone to confirm if he is well-to-do. So now that he's a good catch, we need to play our games well. He must not see your father. But you can bring him here. We'll just make sure that he comes on a day your father will not be around. I will receive him then and make excuses for your father. But you must do all you can to tie him down before he sees your father, even if it means getting pregnant for him." Nkoli felt like the plan was too extreme, but then she had no other option. One day, when Oku went on a long journey, Nkoli brought Ebuka home. Akweke received him and told him that Nkoli's father received an emergency call that made him leave, but he told her to stand in for him. Ebuka was pleased with what he saw and even went on to make his intentions about Nkoli known to Akweke. She accepted his proposal and told him to bring his people. On his way back, just as soon as Nkoli left him, a man called out to him to talk to him. "I don't know you, but I am very sure you are not from this village. The thing I want to tell you is for your own safety. But if you choose to ignore it, that is your doom. I have seen you with Oku's daughter, Nkoli, on different occasions, and I don't need anyone to tell me that you want to marry her. Do you know anything about her family? Do you know that her father is the devil's elder brother? You must not have met him, so you might not know. If you love yourself and family, run away from those people, because from their father, Oku, to their mother, to their children, all of them are evil and very wicked." Ebuka was shocked to hear that, but before he could try to ask the man questions, he walked away for fear of being seen. Evil? What is he saying? There is nothing evil about Nkoli or her mother that I just met. That woman is very kind. I see. This man must have asked Nkoli out and she refused, so he decided to ruin her relationship. Can you imagine? Shameless man, your plan will not work. I will marry Nkoli and you'll be put to shame. Nkoli and Ebuka continued to see themselves, and it did not take long before Nkoli found out that she was pregnant. She informed Ebuka, who was happy about it, and decided to marry her immediately. He made arrangements and came with his younger brother, his mother, and his uncles to do the wedding proper. But as his family saw Oku and the whole compound arrangements, they were shocked. His younger brother Nonso called him aside and asked, "Did you know that this man is fetish and you still decided to marry her? Are you sure this is safe? We can still cancel everything and go back home now if you want to." But Ebuka cut him off, telling him that he was not getting married to Oku, so it does not concern him. Besides, Nkoli had been nothing but an angel to him, so why should he quit the wedding? As such, they continued with the wedding and they took Nkoli home with them that day. However, as soon as Nkoli arrived, That was when the reality dawned on her. Prior to the wedding, Nkoli had not seen Nonso, Ebuka's younger brother, before, so she knew nothing about him. But that evening, she overheard Ebuka and Nonso discussing, and from what she heard, Nonso was the person who gave Ebuka money to get married so that he could have the opportunity to marry soon after him. Ebuka's business was facing a tough time and he had been really broke. It was his younger brother Nonso that had been helping him for long. At this realization, Nkoli wanted to run mad. How could she not have seen this? She married a poor man? What? No way. I can't accept this. Ebuka deceived me. Me, Nkoli, the daughter of Oku. I will see to the end of this. That night, when Ebuka entered the room and tried to touch Nkoli, she slapped his hands off and warned him strictly to never touch her. Ebuka was surprised, but he assumed that she must be stressed from both the wedding and her early pregnancy, so he let her be and slept. But Nkoli could not sleep. She stayed awake thinking about her condition and finally came to a decision. Since Nonso is still single, I will leave Ebuka and make him marry me. After all, he paid for the wedding, so he's my husband already. The next morning, Ebuka woke up and wanted to go close to Nkoli, but she brushed him aside and went to sleep. I couldn't sleep in the night, so I need to sleep now, please. Ebuka nodded and went out, leaving her to sleep. Nkoli woke up by midday, but still, her attitude towards Ebuka did not change. She already had the grudge buried in her and was so irritated by the mere sight of him. Ebuka tried to find out what the problem was, but she refused to say anything. He was deeply worried about it, but just prayed that it would be a temporary pregnancy mood swing. 2 days later, Nkoli told Ebuka that she wanted to go and visit her mother, and he let her go if that would make her happy, reminding her to be careful. Nkoli broke down in her mother's arms the moment she saw her. Mama, I am finished. Ebuka deceived me. You won't believe that Ebuka does not have any money. It had been his younger brother all along. His younger brother had been supporting him, giving him money, and he deceived me into marrying him. Mama, what do I do? Akweke was disturbed by the news. How could a man deceive her daughter? And she was pregnant now, which means there is no going back. Adam, wipe away your tears. Don't worry. We'll do something about this. I'll talk to your father about it. I'm sure he will have a solution. But what do you want? Do you still want to be married to Ebuka? Nkoli hissed and said, Never. I hate him so much. The younger brother is not yet married. Wouldn't it be good for me to marry him? Akweke smiled knowingly at her daughter and told her to relax her mind. Nkoli then went back home that same day and started to pretend as if everything was okay, in line with her mother's advice. She was no longer cold towards Ebuka, and Ebuka was happy that his happy wife was back. However, one day, Ebuka woke up feeling strange. He couldn't just understand what was wrong with him, but he knew that something was off. His younger brother was around at the time, so he called him and told him some things in confidentiality. Nonso, I'll be traveling, but this is not like before. I don't know if I'll be back from this journey. In case you wait for me and don't see me, please take care of my wife, Nkoli. She's 2 months pregnant now. Make sure the child is safe and delivered in this compound. Don't let her live with my child. Nonso was surprised at the kind of words coming out from his brother's mouth. Why are you sounding like this? Where are you going to? And why wouldn't you return? Please stop all this. Nothing will happen to you. But Ebuka could feel it in his spirit. He was hearing his name from a distance and felt a strong urge to wander off. He prepared and waved Nkoli, his mother, and his younger brother goodbye before leaving. But what they did not know was that they would never see Ebuka again, because Oku had done a charm known as Njefu, whereby the victim would wander off far away from his family until he died. And so, his family waited for him for days, but they did not see him. After 1 week, it became obvious that something must have happened to him. During this time, Nkoli put on a worried look and was always with her mother-in-law, crying and showing concerns. But deep down, she wished that Ebuka would never come back again so that she could have her chance with Nonso. 2 weeks later, Ebuka still did not return, and by now, his family had accepted their fate that maybe something bad had happened to him. They felt sorry, however, for Nkoli, his new wife, who was the most affected in the tragedy. And while they were deliberating on what to do about the situation, Akweke, Nkoli's mother, came visiting. She had heard of Ebuka's disappearance and came to know what the fate of her daughter was. She met Ebuka's mother and his younger brother. "My in-laws, what is this news that I'm hearing? How is it possible that a newly married man just woke up one day, went out and never returned? So who did he leave his new wife for? My daughter is too young to be a widow." Ebuka's mother was too heartbroken to even say a word, so Nonso had to speak up. "We are equally as confused concerning this, but we still hope for him to return home one day. Meanwhile, Nkoli is part of us now, so even if Ebuka is not here, we will look after her like our own." Akweke sized Nonso up, and deep down, she concluded that it was the right decision for him to marry her daughter. "I don't understand what you mean, but what I know is that my daughter is too young to be a widow. She needs a man to have as her own husband, and it is a good thing that there is another man in the family to take over her." Nonso and his mother looked at themselves in shock, but did not say anything. Just then, Nkoli came out holding her stomach in pain. "I feel sick. I would like to go with my mother to stay with her for a few days." But Nonso immediately remembered what Ebuka told him about her pregnancy. "What is wrong with you? I hope it has nothing to do with the baby. My brother told me that you're already 2 months pregnant before he left, and he instructed me to make sure that the baby is delivered safely. So please, you can't go anywhere. We'll look after you here and get a midwife to attend to you if the need arises." Nkoli looked at her mother in disappointment as their plan had failed. She had planned to go with her mother, who would help her get rid of the pregnancy so that nothing would prevent her from getting married to Nonso. But now that he knew about her pregnancy, she would not dare tamper with it. Akweke then left, leaving Nkoli there, but not without promising to do something to make Nonso fall in love with her. The very next day, Nonso went out, but when he returned, he was not alone. He came back with his fiancée named Udochi, and immediately Nkoli saw her, she went into a rage. She ran into her room and let out her frustration. "Who is that intruder? How dare you come into a room I just swept for myself? You will never marry Nonso. That will be over my dead body." From then on, Nkoli became bold in her actions. She would throw herself at Nonso trying to seduce him, but Nonso would reject her each time. He did not fail to remind her that he already had a wife he wanted to marry. And the day he finally brought in Udochi as his wife, Nkoli could not bear it. She ran to her village to seek her mother's help. "Mama, why did you allow this to happen to me? You promised to help me. So how come Nonso is getting married to another woman?" Nkoli lamented, but Akweke tried to calm her down. "My daughter, calm down. I did not see this coming at all. I tried all I could on Nonso, but it seems there is a force behind him. He has a very strong spirit protecting him, and that spirit would not allow anyone to touch him. So there was nothing I could do. But you said he just married a wife." That is good. Since we could not penetrate him, she will pay for it. We will torment her and make her go through hell." Even though Nkoli was not happy that she couldn't get Nonso, she was relieved now knowing that her so-called co-wife would never enjoy peace in the marriage. That is what you go through for stealing my husband. Nkoli returned home, and when Udochi tried to be close to her, Nkoli shunned her off. She would never be friends with a husband thief, and made it clear to Udochi that she was her rival and enemy. Udochi was troubled and complained to Nonso about it, but he told her to stay away from Nkoli, explaining to her that she was angry because he refused to marry her. However, Nonso couldn't just turn a blind eye to it, and he tried to reach an agreement with Nkoli. Nkoli, I understand your hurt and heartbreak, and I am very sorry once again for what happened to my brother, your husband. But the way you are going about it is what I don't support. You are with our child, and I am very sure it is going to be a son. This is going to be the first grandson of the family, so I will try to be fair here. I sent a message to my younger brother who stays at a faraway village. I told him about you and suggested to him to marry you, explaining the whole circumstances to him. Fortunately, he agreed and is willing to marry you. I believe this is the best thing to do. That way, you will still be in the family. So what do you have to say about this? Nkoli stood up angrily and looked at Nonso with disgust. So you want to play me around like a football? Did I tell you that I don't know what I want? It is you I want to marry, or I will get rid of this pregnancy and go back to my father's house. Nonso was shocked at her outburst. Nkoli, don't be ridiculous. I am married, so I can't marry you. I am trying to be fair here. Try and also be fair. I can't let you tamper with that child. If anything happens to that child in your womb, you won't like what I'll do to you. So it is better you agree to this plan and there will be peace. After all, we are kind to you and we take care of you very well. Nkoli backed down, but then she threatened. Since you want to have it your way, no problem. I will keep this child. But for every day I remain in this family, you will all regret it. I promise you. She threatened and then walked out. A few weeks before Nkoli gave birth, Nonso's remaining brother, named Azuka, returned home. He had been away for years, trying to make ends meet, but unfortunately, all the businesses he did failed. He finally decided to return home and take whatever life throws at him. Fortunately for him, his brothers had already married a wife for him, so he need not worry about that again. When Nkoli saw Azuka, she almost threw up. It was clearly written all over him that he was suffering, and it would not be an exaggeration to say he was poverty personified. So this is what these people want me to marry. This thing, it is okay. Since you all want to play games with me, I will gladly oblige you. Nonso welcomed his brother home, and they made plans to bury Ebuka since they had waited for a miracle for months, but nothing happened. They got his favorite clothes and his shoes and did some burial rites before putting the symbolic items into the grave they had dug. After that was done, Nonso opened a small business for Azuka in the village before formalizing the transfer of Nkoli to him so that he could be her rightful husband. Everything went as planned and everyone was happy about it except for Nkoli, who was almost due for delivery now. She soon gave birth to a baby boy and Nonso threw a big party to welcome their first grandchild into the family. However, after she gave birth, Nkoli started to frustrate everyone in the compound. There was hardly a day of peace in the compound, as she was either fighting Azuka to give her more money before leaving the house or shouting at Udochi to leave the farm, claiming to be the senior wife in the compound, even though she did not plant anything there. Everyone became wary of Nkoli, including her mother-in-law, who was still mourning her first son. In all of this, Udochi, who was Nonso's wife, was having difficulty conceiving. At first, she would get pregnant, but after a terrible nightmare, she would wake up to a miscarriage. This happened 4 times, and nothing was found to be wrong with her. It had even gotten worse because she was no longer able to conceive again. Udochi was now a shadow of her former self and would spend all her nights crying. Nonso was also worried about their condition, but he was still hopeful that they would surely have their own children, even though by now, Nkoli had gone ahead to bear 2 more children for Azuka, while he had none. Nkoli would mock Udochi, boldly calling her a dry wood that was only good for burning up. She would also warn Udochi to never send any of her children on errands again, since she had eaten up all the children in her womb. Udochi was hurt, broken, and ashamed, but she knew that crying would do her no good. Rather than fold her arms and allow herself to be played like a ball in someone's evil game, she would rather stand up and take her destiny in her hands. And so, one day, she set out to go look for a solution by all means. She was directed to an old woman in another village who was very powerful. Udochi located this woman and explained her predicament to her. The old woman took pity on her and gave her a powder. On the day after your menstruation, before you go to bed, sprinkle this powder at your door and around your bed. The evil manipulation will not be able to tamper with your womb anymore, and you will conceive. Udochi thanked her and went back home. She did as she was instructed, and miraculously, weeks later, she found out that she was pregnant. Nkoli was sitting in front of the house, peeling some oranges, when Udochi ran out and went to a corner to throw up. As Nkoli saw that, her heart cut into 2. How come? Is she truly pregnant? But no, this can't be. Not under my watch. Nkoli knew exactly what she would do. That pregnancy would not see another daylight. But unknown to her that Udochi was proactive this time around, she went back to the old woman's place to inform her about her pregnancy, and the old woman took her in and applied some chalk on her tummy, making some back-to-sender incantations. She then assured Udochi to return home as she was safe. Anyone who tried to hurt her would be faced with the consequences of his or her evil. That night, Udochi slept, but unlike before, she did not have any nightmares. And the next morning, when she woke up, there was a loud cry from their compound. But this time around, it was not from her room, but from Nkoli's room. They all rushed out to see what it was, only to see Nkoli carrying her daughter in her arms, crying. The little girl's eyes were swollen so badly that she could not even open them. Udochi tried to go closer to check the girl, but Nkoli gave her an evil look, as if to accuse her of being the witch that attacked her daughter. Udochi just respected herself and stepped back. But then, she suddenly realized that this was too much of a coincidence. The old woman had said that the evildoer would bear the consequences. Could it be that Nkoli had been the one behind her miscarriages and barrenness? No. This must be a coincidence. What started off as only swelling in the little girl's eyes soon turned into permanent blindness that defied all treatments. Nkoli was really pained by this and blamed herself for her daughter's blindness, but it still did not prevent her from going ahead with her evil. She was the true daughter of her father Oku and would not spare anyone who stepped on her toes. Udochi had stepped on her toes and she would not accept any apology. But she must get a cutlass and chop off her legs. Since she had escaped this time around, she would wait for her at delivery and finish her up. In fact, I don't want you here anymore. I will end everything. You and that forbidden baby will go back to where you belong. And after that, I will then get rid of this my stupid good-for-nothing Azuka of a husband. I have tolerated you for long, but not anymore. I must marry Nonso this time around, and no one or nothing must stop me," Nkoli said to herself and was pleased with her plans. As her pregnancy progressed, Udochi became more scared because no day passed without her having nightmares. She told Nonso about it, and he too was really worried. They had been through so much before she finally got pregnant, and it would be careless of him to allow anything go wrong with his wife or his baby. He then decided to set out on a journey. He traveled to Cotonou, where he had been to do business before years ago. It was in this place that he had met a man who gave him a mark of protection from evil as a reward of his honesty to him in business. He had to go and locate that same man to help him out in this situation. And fortunately for him, the man was still living in the same house he knew. Nonso explained everything to him, and the man promised to help. He gave Nonso a leaf. "This leaf is very small but powerful. I went through so much to get this, but I'll give it to you because of how good you were to me. On the day your wife's labor begins, take this leaf and drop it on the entrance of your house. Whatever evil projection anyone is making will be stopped by this leaf. But I must warn you, the effect is very bad. This leaf can make the evildoer run mad or even die. So you need to be sure you have no hand in this unknowingly or anyone close to you, because there is no going back." Nonso thought for a while, but then he collected the leaf and went with it. He had nothing to lose. If anyone had the heart to plan such evil towards him and his wife, then it was only right for such person to pay for his evil. On the day Udochi started to experience labor signs, Nonso quickly went and placed the leaf at the entrance of his house before going to get the midwife. The midwife arrived and went to attend to Udochi. Meanwhile, Nkoli sat by her window watching as Nonso and the midwife were running around, and she laughed out loud, confident that their expectations would soon be cut short and their joy would turn to sorrow. She would just sit by her window and wait for when they would start to cry. Then she would go out to cry with them. After all, she was not that heartless to not join in their pain. Udochi's labor quickly progressed, and it did not take long before she gave birth to a baby girl. But something shocking happened. The baby came out and did not cry. This was strange, and so the midwife had to try different techniques to make the baby cry. They tried for minutes until finally the baby forced out a very loud cry. Immediately the baby's cry rang out. They heard another cry ring out too. Nonso was shocked and quickly went out to check what it was, only to see Nkoli on the floor, looking all wrinkled and black, as if she had been burnt. He was scared and shifted back, refusing to touch her. He quickly sent for Azuka, who was not at the compound by then. Udochi was still being attended to by the midwife inside. Nkoli was still on the floor, and she began to confess all her evil doing, starting from how she manipulated Ebuka into marrying her, how she and her mother sent him on a journey of no return, all the evil she had been doing to Udochi, and the future plans she had for the whole family. The two brothers and their mother were shocked. They couldn't believe they had been living with the devil's daughter for years. They did not even know how to cry again because the news left them in confusion. But before they could even recover, Nkoli started to convulse, and within a minute, she slumped and died. The whole drama played out in their front, and they were even twice as frightened than before. But they were relieved, however, that the days of evil in their family was over. Akweke heard that her daughter had died, but she could not bring herself to come to the compound, knowing that their evil was out. And so, Nkoli was buried without any of her family members being around. Azuka was left with the 4 children Nkoli had, and Udochi helped him to take care of them. She also went on to have other children with Nonso. Azuka swore never to go close to any woman again, having survived sharing the same bed with a demon for many years. Thank you for watching this story. The moral of the story lies in the fact that even though evil abounds and there are forbidden powers being abused by people, evil will never remain hidden forever. Whatever you do in the dark will one day be brought out in daylight, and you must reap the full amount of what you sow.
Thank you for watching this video. Like and subscribe for more videos.